Midcard Mafia!
All right, welcome to the Midcard Mafia podcast, the wrestling podcast that's waiting for a casino gauntlet match to make its wrestling debut. We are, of course, part of Wrestling Society Network, jam-packed with excellent wrestling content for your consumption, and soon an application you certainly will want to download. September 11th!
Coming Ember 11th.
Ember 11th. This triple threat match is, of course, scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
Thank you, gentlemen. In this corner, he's the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be at telling you what you're doing wrong. It's Aaron B.
Right, yeah, that's me.
Up next,
Well done.
Mr. Steal Your AI Girlfriend, Mike V.
Scott's my dad.
And, of course, the cleaner of the Midcard Mafia, of the sanitation variety, Scott V.
How do we get the troll and you get freaking Omega?
I did say of the sanitation variety, so I'm literally cleaning
Still,
this
have you
place
seen him
up.
with a broom? I mean,
Fair enough.
By the way, Scott, my trash can's full.
Oh, okay. I'll get it right after this.
Thank you.
Tonight on FCM, we will be discussing when the next big thing became the big thing in WWE, and of course, when the Heartbreak Kid made his heartbreaking return. It's SummerSlam 2002. So lace up your boots, grab your steel chair, and prepare yourself because the bell is rung, the egos are inflated, and this is the Midcard Mafia.
L's to the yeah. As always, make sure you are subscribed to WSN on all social platforms as well, where you can hear our wonderful voices on monthly pod of Midcard Mafia, because we love to do that. Gentlemen, quick question for you. This SummerSlam is renowned as probably the greatest SummerSlam of all time. Are we all in agreement of that after watching this particular?
It's pretty enjoyable. Out of especially after Bash at the Beach, this was an amazing transition.
Yeah.
So I thought it was very enjoyable. I don't think there was a stinker on the card. There was a couple things that made me raise my eyebrows, but every match I think was fairly enjoyable.
Definitely the set. Go ahead.
There was matches going into it that I didn't want to enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
but they turned out just fine. There was some really good action. Like Scott said, there really was no dud. There was no Big Boss Man versus John Tenta with Human Money's match. I thought it was a solid pay-per-view all around.
Yes, the original Human Money's on a pole match.
Yeah, the coins, the bag of coins, not
The
alluding
silver
to
dollars
balls
on a
at all. I mean, I think there was definitely some satire at the time that was there that you're like, eyebrow raise, but whatever.
Yeah.
It was what it was at the time. Well, gentlemen, should we just jump right into it with this day in pro wrestling history, August 28th, 1994, two dudes with attitude. If you don't know who that is or was, that was Shawn Michaels and Choo Choo Diesel when they won the tag team titles, which they would later vacate in November of that same year because they would split and start their loving rivalry. Isn't that awesome?
You said Choo Choo?
Choo Choo Diesel.
Diesel was a semi-truck, not a train.
Yeah,
more
but
like
when I
honk
see-
honk.
But when I see Kevin Nash nowadays, it's like, choo choo. 2010. Ring of Honor Tag Wars took place in Charlotte, North Carolina. The main event saw Davey Richards make the ROH champion Tyler Black, now known as Seth Rollins, submit for the win. However, it was a non-title match, so Black kept the championship and would do so for a few more months until he would go to a faraway land known as the WWE. And finally, rounding off this underwhelming list of what happened on Today in Pro Wrestling History, Alexa Bliss would defeat Mercedes Moné, back then known as Sasha Banks, on an episode of Raw to begin her second reign as the Raw Women's Champion. Don't know if I missed those days or not.
Normally, I do love me some Alexa Bliss, to be fair. So,
I mean, If you can't beat it, join. Well, wait, hold on. Anyway, instead of birthdays, there was actually not really any notable birthdays, but there was a very notable death on this day back August 28th of 2016. And that was one of the greatest managers of all time in pro wrestling history, Mr. Fuji, RIP to Mr. Fuji back in 2016. And that's going to do it for our day in pro wrestling history.
What, Mike, was Mr. Fuji still active when you started watching, or had he already?
No, actually, coincidentally enough, this SummerSlam was the second pay-per-view I saw ever in my life because I started watching around early 2002.
Right. I just was curious because I knew you started later than the old man and I. So
I did have an Undertaker DVD, which was like his worst matches of all time, where him and Yokozuna fought in a casket match. So that was fun. That's where I saw Fuji.
Yeah.
Very good. So we took a break this month from the Mount Rushmore of wrestling to bring you guys some hot takes. Hot takes. I thought I'd try my spot at singing there.
It worked. Scott and I can't take all the vocals.
I only have one hot take. So I'll just lead it off. Currently, the only world champion who has a storyline that I'm somewhat interested in is not a world champion in WWE or AEW. I find most of the championships storylines right now very stale and boring and uninteresting to me, including Omega Ospreay. Now, if Ospreay wins here in a few days, I think that might do something, but I'm not a huge fan lately of Ospreay's promo work. In-ring work, impeccable. Promo work, it doesn't connect with me. And the WWE stuff is just rubbish for me right now. On the main card level, I watch WWE more for the mid-card, tag team, other stuff than I do for the main card or the main belt title runs. My current favorite heavyweight champion is Killer Cross of MLW.
That is definitely not a hot take. That is spot on. That's spot on.
he is wrestling every other week on Fusion against whoever wants to come up against him. He's got 3 or 4 guys lined up storyline wise. I am really enjoying the momentum that MLW's got going right now with their free weekly fusions on YouTube. And I just think that right now, storyline wise, they are cooking right now, as the children would say.
As soon as I saw Don Gatto in MLW, I was hooked personally.
Yeah.
I want that job. You just go around giving people like, what is that? Tequila?
Yeah.
I want that job. That's got to be the greatest job in the world.
Yeah. I mean, Killer Cross is, no pun intended, killing it right now, doing the belt collector thing. He's also newly crowned champion of Noble's Champion Group, which you can see on the WSN Plus app, now a part of this network, and to MLW too, a very close acquaintance and friend of WSN, Jesus Ricardo Rodriguez, owner of 3 Legacies Wrestling, where you can also see 3LW Ascend on the WSN Plus app. Very cheap plug there. Also, Aaron, how did you not like You're More Charismatic Than a Parking Ticket, bruv? That's just like class promo right there, right?
Something along those lines.
I get it. I get it. It just doesn't connect for me right now. And the main cards on the main shows bore the shit out of me, to be honest.
I like the Punk Owens feud at the moment, but I think that's purely based on what happened on SmackDown on the 21st.
But how many feuds can Punk be in where his opponent hates him for this, that, and the other thing, and it just seems like it's being recycled.
But this is probably the first one where I kind of feel like it's true.
It's giving the Hangman vibes a little bit.
Yeah, they'll do an excellent match, and they did. And now with like Sammy's involvement, like I do think it's hit a point where it's very interesting, and it's not the same boilerplate like what was it? well, God, why am I forgetting his name all of a sudden? It's because he hasn't been on TV in forever. McIntyre. I don't. But the McIntyre feud between him and Punk didn't feel that authentic. Like McIntyre did a great job of selling it, but it was just like, okay, guys, we get it. You're doing a bit. This is awesome. With Owens, though, like I legitimately feel like Owens is just one stiff shot away of knocking him out. there's legitimate heat there.
Yeah, that pop-up power bomb might hurt a little bit extra in some of these matches.
But that being said, no, Killer Cross is an amazing, amazing talent, and I'm so happy that he's getting the recognition and the belts that he has always deserved. And yeah, no, I don't think that's a hot take. I think that is 100% factual.
Yeah. I didn't know where we were going with the hot takes, so I did 3 of them, but they're kind of short, so I'll just name them and then we can kind of discuss which one we think is. I do want to explain one of them. So I went pretty much mainstream with this. Hot take, Solo Sikoa is the best character in wrestling right now, and no one else can tell me otherwise. Hot take 2, Kenny wins at All In, and Tony pulls a Vince swerve. And hot take number 3, as of now, it would seem as if we are building up to Creed and Kofi, who have not yet allegedly signed with WWE, to be Swerve's tag team partners for the Trios title. However, my hot take / fantasy booking is more so of we get swerved, pun intended, and Swerve actually recruits the Hurt Syndicate as his tag team partners, and Creed and Kofi come out to challenge the newly crowned Young Bucks, the AEW World Tag Team titles at All In.
Nice. One of those actually is one of my hot takes as well, by the way. So
I think I know which one.
Yeah. My hot take for that, and we'll talk a little bit about yours before we go into all of mine, but the hot take that I had regarding Solo Sikoa is that the Bloodline storyline has already gone stale, and Solo Sikoa is the only thing keeping it alive.
Yeah.
Solo is just so hot right now. Like as soon as they kind of released the shackles and allowed him to just be himself, I think he's the greatest character on Raw right now. Like, yeah, 100%. So I definitely don't think it's a hot take. I think it's spot on. I like the hot take regarding Hurt Business kind of swapping in for the New Day or whatever they would go by. I think that would be an interesting swerve, and I like that. I think that's really cool. That's a hot take. I like that.
I think we're going to get a 4-team trios match at All In.
I really don't want that.
I don't either, but I think they were building it this week on with everybody being out there. You're going to have Hangman and Brodito. You're going to have the Hurt. You're going to have not the Hurt Syndicate, but Ricochet and his goons. You're probably going to have a Don Callis family representation. And then I think you have Swerve and New Day.
I think the problem with that, though, is you're debuting pretty much the hottest free agents on the market right now. And throwing them, like, I think you miss a big opportunity not putting a centerpiece on that, right? And that's kind of where I was going with the centerpiece of the tag titles if they challenge the Bucks, because now you're debuting them. And now they're just 2 guys out of, 16 that are going to be in the ring?
Yeah, but I think the debut it's Wembley Stadium, and they win the Trios title.
Yeah.
And they are known as a trio. Granted, one didn't come with them.
True.
They were known for their trio work. Now they can actually be a trio.
Yeah. No, I mean, it unfortunately makes sense to me. And I would hope for the latter.
If they win the trios title, obviously Kofi, Creed, and Swerve, I would love for just one Dynamite for Swerve, whatever town they're in, going, "Oh, Brooklyn, don't you dare peace out!" Just do the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm sure WWE doesn't necessarily have a copyright on that whole phrase, but like it would just be funny.
they'd find a way.
They wouldn't do it, but I would love it. That's all I'm gonna say. All right. I don't know if you guys will even care about this one hot take, but the one that I have is Grayson Waller is set to be the biggest NXT star, even with the debut of Zilla and Montana Cruz.
Ooh.
I think there's potential there for that to happen. I think he's positioning himself there for that. I don't know how long Zillow will stay in NXT, so I could see that. I think he's better suited down there than he was on the main roster. He's not going to get a push on the main roster.
Well, you can't send him to Raw. He's just going to get looped in with the whole bloodline thing.
Yeah,
you have to put him in SmackDown, and I think SmackDown's pretty heavy loaded with talent right now. So I think you almost have to do it.
I think NXT would be smart, or Sean or H, whoever, would be smart to build the brand around Zilla Fatu and Grayson Waller right now, just because you have two very hot acts going on, and you just keep that momentum going, because like that's what the old NXT was built on, right? Like you didn't do all these main roster call-ups just after a little bit, right? Now when people were ready, they were ready. But as we have seen in the past, usually they flounder on the main roster. So,
right.
I mean, I think it's a hot take for sure.
And I think, obviously, and this was what sucks, I don't think WWE sees the same level of star potential with Cruz Montana that they did elsewhere. Right. Like, and that's a shame because he's great, but they changed his name, and that's already like that's not good.
Yeah.
But they didn't change Zilla Fatu's names. It's like, all right, well, we see what you think here.
Bloodline incoming. Yay.
But, ever since that shoot promo, Grayson got a lot of attention, a lot of a negative attention. But, hey, in the world of entertainment, bad press is still press, and I think Grayson is going to kind of shine quite a bit in that world. So, and this one kind of goes slightly against what you said, Mike. I think AEW will redo Kofi Mania by 2027.
Oh, interesting.
I don't think Creed and Kofi are going to stay as a tag team. They'll stay as a team, but I don't think they're going to stay as a tag team long term. I think they'll do the trios thing, and then maybe at some point they'll have Kofi and Creed turn on Swerve, and that'll start a feud to kind of start elevating Kofi's single career. And Kofi will eventually get to a point where he's going to fight somebody for the world title.
Well, you have to do Creed Omega once, right? So, I think that's a singles bout that's destined to happen. I think there's going to be a trios match.
But that's not going to be for the world title, though, for sure.
No, 100% no. But it's the match that everyone has wanted for years, right? And I think also you have to do minus Big E, right? The New Day versus the Elite at some point, which could culminate with this trios thing that's happening now. But yeah, I wouldn't hate it. They put the belt on Samoa Joe. Why not put it on Kofi?
Yep. All right. Those were my hot takes.
Very good.
So it is up to you, Midcard Mafia universe. They're going to hate me for saying that, by the way, to tell us which hot takes you think were hot and which ones were not. All right. So we're going to go ahead and dive into some SummerSlam 2002 live, and I'm going to butcher this name, at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. I think that's how that's pronounced, in Uniondale, New York. Of course, this was on August 25th of 2002. The live attendance was about 14,797, which was down from last year at 15,293. The pay-per-view buy rate was calculated at a roughly 540,000, which was again down from last year's at 570,000. Cage Match rates this show at a very convenient September. No, I'm kidding. 9/11. So a very high rate.
Hey, coming.
Look, Cage Match is just trying to promote the WSN Plus app. I love it. It's great. This, of course, had two commentary teams because we are in the midst of the brand split. The first one on commentary for Raw matches, we had Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. And, of course, on SmackDown, we had Michael Cole and Taz. That's with two Z's, not one. This was one of the more lazier stages for the time. It was basically just the SmackDown set horizontally mirrored. They just took the screen, went from the right side to the left side. And then, of course, the first match. Aaron, I'll give that to you.
Yeah, so this month's first match is almost a carbon copy of last month's first match. It's Rey Mysterio starting things off.
King of opening matches.
Every pay-per-view should be opened with a Rey Mysterio match. In fact, wait a second. Next month, is he in the opening match?
No, he's in the main event for next.
Yeah, he's in the main event for that one. Yeah. Spoilers. Spoilers.
He probably should have opened it, but you know.
Yeah. So this SummerSlam, we have Rey Mysterio versus the Kurt of the Angle. And they come out, and it was funny because the whole thing reminded me of Chad Gable's recent issue with luchadors, and they were playing that up that Kurt was having this issue beating Rey, and he was swearing he was going to break Rey's ankle, and he was just having this hard time against these high flyers. I'm like, man, this just seems like I've seen this before recently. Oh yeah, it's before El Grande Americano. But Kurt comes out, and I swear he must have lost his gear in transit because it looked like he went to Goodwill and got some candy striper outfit, and they like Velcroed on an A to the front of it. It was not his best outfit ever, let me say. But it was fun. It's Kurt. Kurt is wrestling. Kurt is a Hall of Famer for a reason. He really transitioned well from the Olympic wrestler to doing this, and a lot of people wasn't sure if he'd have the persona for it. He obviously did. Another great misdirect was I was waiting for Rey to pop out of the stage. He popped out behind Kurt and just started the match off hot, and it was great to see the fast-paced action. Just a lot of great chain wrestling to start things off. Rey was very hot with the moves. I was talking to Scott the other day about how I got to do both Rey Mysterio matches 2 months in a row, and last month it was Rey in his infancy, basically his first pay-per-view here in the States. He'd wrestled in Mexico, but was still very young and very fresh. It was a great match, but this is Rey at his peak. This is Rey as fluid as can be. Like, you don't know what's coming when they go to do a move in this match, because Rey could just reverse it into something else. And it was very fast-paced, and it felt like a lot of fun. I say that a lot, but I love these matches. I love Rey Mysterio. Kurt Angle is a great worker. One thing that I did notice is they were very stiff. Both of them were very stiff with their shots and their chops and the kicks. I didn't remember, it's been a while, obviously, but I didn't remember either of them working that stiffly. That it was something that took me back a little bit. There was a great angle slam into an arm drag, which was so much fun to see. And it's just a matter of, they talk about the RKO can come out of nowhere, and Rey's moveset, period, comes out of nowhere. It's all reversals and putting himself in a position. And Kurt kind of the same way, because as Rey's doing a move, Kurt's setting up his next submission try or the next try at an ankle lock. And just the way these two fed off each other goes to show why it got some really good ratings that we'll go over here in a second. Rey was trying to jump outside of the ring. Kurt was on the outside, and Rey wanted to go over the top rope, and the ref stopped him for some reason. I'm still not sure why he did that, but he did. And the ref decides to get between the top rope and the middle rope, and he's talking to Kurt like, get in the ring. And Rey's like, well, screw it. Let me just go over the top of the referee. Just another great spot. A lot of the matches that I saw, there was some good spots, but I think what makes Rey so much fun in an opening match is it's like you're playing 2K and you're just spamming all the special moves, signature moves, one after another, and it really gets the crowd going and wanting more. There was a fun 619 into a springboard Hurricane Rana, which is my favorite Rey Mysterio finish. I was not a fan when he started doing the 619 into the frog splash. I'm an old school Rey fan, so I always loved when he finished it with the Hurricane Rana, and that that was my favorite move growing up watching, was him come off the springboard, flip the guy all the way around, because at the time that was as innovative as wrestling got. We didn't have Spanish flies and Mexican destroyers or Canadian destroyers or whatever you want to call it. We didn't have a lot of this flippy do. It was the flippy do of the time, and it's just fun to see that kind of stuff happen again. But unfortunately, he didn't get the 3 count, and Kurt Angle immediately got into an ankle lock and got the win. My only downside to this match was the whole premise going into it was Kurt was going to break Ray's ankle. Kurt got him in the ankle lock. Ray tapped fairly quickly, and then Kurt just kind of like, okay, I'm out. And he just walked to the back. And there wasn't that. We've seen Kurt get that like bloodthirsty, I'm going to break someone's ankle, and actually try to maliciously do that. And they were I kind of thought we were going to go towards that. And the ending just kind of, it was a good match, and it was a good ending.
I bet you anything that was purely because of time. Maybe. They had so many matches later on in this card that they probably were like, if we had more time, we would let that go. But I think it was one of those things where they were just like, you're the opener, get your shit and get out. That's basically what it boiled down to.
And it did an excellent job of doing that. And
it was a great match.
Oh yeah, but I think it's sad though, the build up for now. Let's not forget, this is the match of the infamous Kurt promo where he said, "You're a boy in a man's world, and I'm a man who loves to play with little boys." And, wait, no. Like, I mean, there was great build up between it. Kurt is just a wrestling machine, even before he got that nickname, later in the 2000s. I mean, what can I say? Ray is the king of opening matches. He can do a great opening match with anyone. But to your point, Aaron, I agree. And Scott, I also agree. I think time was a factor here, but you built up so much of, I'm going to break Rey Mysterio's ankle. It would have been nice to see that ankle lock where he wraps the legs around his leg and really torque it. But
or even after he tapped, just holding on to it, he literally he tapped and he just let go and he got out of the ring. He's like, "Yeah, I won, cool, bye." Yeah. I'm late for catering.
Hey, we love ourselves some catering over here at Midcard Mafia.
Cage match gave it an 8.38. I think that's pretty fair. And Meltzer gave it 3 3/4 stars.
That's low, Meltzer. What are you doing?
I think Meltzer was a little low. It definitely earned at least a 4 in my book. I think the 8.38 by Cage match is much more reminiscent. It wasn't earth-shattering spectacular, but there was a lot of great moves and was very fluid. And like I said, just the transition from one to the other, they worked very well together in this match.
Well, the first couple minutes of this match is just at lightning speed. It's so incredibly quick. And I think this is one of those times where Kurt really benefited a lot from having an opponent like Rey Mysterio, because it got a chance to show Kurt was just a wrestling freaking machine at the time, man. And Rey was one of the few folks that can actually keep up with him. And it was a great match. It was really, really entertaining.
No, I lucked out getting Ray match 2 months in a row. I don't expect it next month, but it was a great match, and we'll give
you the main event. It'll be fine.
It led into one of the very first of the awkward backstage segments between Steph and Eric Bischoff, where she goes in to the Raw GM's. Is waiting in her office for her as she goes in to watch the pay-per-view. I don't know why she missed the first match, but she gets in to watch the pay-per-view and Eric's already there and they are going to share an office. Isn't that fun? Yay.
But more importantly, she did say that as she's walking through the hallway with no monitors around at all, says, "See right there? That's SmackDown. That's the action that we bring to some guy who has a cast on, who then runs to go find Eric Bischoff." And if you notice, as the camera cuts to go to her walking into the office, he trips. And I laughed.
Moving on, match 2 featured Raw Or, of course, as Lawler put it, welcome to the Raw portion of SmackDown. Great call there, Lawler. This was, of course, Chris Jericho taking on Ric Flair. Flair, of course, comes out. He is actually looking pretty good for 52. I don't know why, but like my mental vision of Flair in that time frame was kind of like the current iteration, but he really was in great shape at the time.
Like the Andrade tag team match?
Yeah. Yeah. That's something we should review at some point. Anyway. So there's a lockup. Jericho pushes Flair into the turnbuckle. Flair slaps the absolute loving taste out of Jericho's mouth and does, of course, the Ric Flair strut, which he's all too known for. Flair does more of his signature chops. Jericho does like a skin the cat sort of thing where he's out the ropes and then he kind of pulls himself back in. We'll see that a couple times tonight. Jericho with a thumb to the eye right in front of the ref. Ref does nothing. Jericho whips Flair into the turnbuckle. Classic Flair overselling, except he didn't go over the ropes this time. He just kind of went and flopped down. Flair is just one of a kind. The action spilt to the outside. Jericho rips the padding off of the barrier and then bashes Flair's head into it. I can talk. He climbs the top turnbuckle and then does an axe handle chop right off the top turnbuckle onto Flair. I don't know if ripping the padding off really made that much of a difference, but okay, sure. Selling the over dramaticism here. I got it. There's a lion salt later on in the match. No one's home. Flair back in with more chops. There's probably about 50 chops in this match, and that's undercounting. Flair attempted a Walls of Jericho, but was reversed by Jericho with a figure 4 leg lock. One of the few times that Flair is hit with his own move. Flair is literally elbow close to the ropes, like literally right there, and is doing everything possible not to grab the ropes to, again, sell the drama.
I was literally screaming watching this. I'm like, why is he not grabbing the ropes? Why are you not grabbing the ropes?
And he tried to grab the middle rope when he's literally touching the bottom rope.
Yeah, he's so close to the ropes, he grabs the middle rope to break the hold.
While he taps.
Yes.
While he taps. So Jericho, of course, releases the hold thinking that he won the match. Ref's like, no, he already had the ropes before he tapped, so it doesn't count. I don't know if that's... I don't know. That seems weird, but sure. Flair with another chop to Jericho, forcing it back. And, of course, right into good old Little Nate, Charles Robinson. While the ref is gathering himself, Flair hits Jericho with the most telegraphed low blow of all time. Jericho had centuries to move out of this thing, but did not.
I'm pretty sure he got down there and he measured, like he brought his arm up, measured it, and then brought it back for the swing. Like, it was a measured low blow.
He was doing trigonometry right there at the same time. Anyway.
Well, the force of velocity goes this much by this angle.
Figure 4 leg lock onto Jericho from a gyrating Ric Flair. Again, I guess trying to sell the dramaticism of the move. Jericho does tap. Ric Flair wins the match. Does this mean that Flair took Jericho to Space Mountain with the way he was humping the air?
Yes.
All right. I'm glad we got that solved. Cage Match rated this match at 5.82. Meltzer gave this a 2 3/4 stars. I think that's a little low. I actually like, as much as I'm complaining about the 50 chops and some of the like weirdness of it, this was actually not a bad match to watch. There was some frustrations, but this was an entertaining watch.
Low Meltzer rating, definitely. I mean, it's a classic Ric Flair match, right? I mean, what else are you going to expect? Like, just because he's known as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time doesn't mean that he was actually that good at the wrestling portion of it. He's a showman, right? Yeah. But I really enjoyed the move stealing back and forth there between the figure 4 and then the Walls of Jericho. Watching Ric Flair try to put in a Walls of Jericho was hilarious.
It was pretty good.
Not a big Flair guy growing up, but he threw a lot of chops. But everyone resonated. Like that made,
Oh yeah.
there's a
They're
reason
loud.
why that's why there's a reason why now today, time anybody chops somebody, everybody woos, because that man, every one of those 50 chops echoed in that building.
All right, going into the back, Heyman mentions the Best of Hogan DVD as a sign of Hogan's career dying, because Lesnar obviously took him out not too long before this event. Lesnar says, or I'm sorry, Lesnar needs to, I can't even read my own notes. Lesnar needs to do the same thing with The Rock. Oh, Heyman says Lesnar needs to do the same thing with The Rock. I swear to God, I can actually read my own notes. There's lots of laughs and grunts from Lesnar. It's honestly his best promo work, 100%, hands down. If Lesnar would continue to just do this instead of talking, it would be great.
Yeah. Just grunt.
I just hate the man's voice, but otherwise,
just be the primal beast that you are meant to be.
Right.
That's right.
Speaking of primal beasts, match 3 had Latino Heat Eddie Guerrero versus Edge in a very fun match, which started off with a beautiful sign in the crowd that they had to pick out, Deport Eddie. I'm like, okay, we're going
to see America hasn't changed in 20 years.
No, well, between that and all the un-American stuff that was on this thing, they really...
We'll get to that.
they really laid into this anti-American, which WWE's always fallen back on that shtick. But Edge looked really young here. I really, when he came down to the ring, and he was really young here, but watching him wrestle right now in AEW, I've enjoyed his run so far in AEW and a lot of the stuff he's done there. I miss the young Edge. Like, this was a lot of fun to watch. There was some really fast chain wrestling to start this thing off, where everybody's reversing into there wasn't any actual moves happening because they're just reversing into something else and reversing into something else. But it was so fluid between these two because they were, at the time, both very good workers. Eddie, one of the best that's ever done it, in my opinion. And Edge at the time was very skilled in, I'm sure some people wasn't as big of a fan of Edge, but I thought he was a great worker at the time, and it showed in this match, and it was a lot of fun. They were playing up the shoulder injury, trying to weaken the spear. Edge had just had a match where his shoulder had gotten injured, so Eddie was trying to do Eddie, and it's typical Eddie Guerrero match where he finds a weakness of his opponent, and it's just nonstop on that. There was a really
was this before their no DQ impromptu ladder match on SmackDown, or was this after?
I'm not sure.
I'm trying to remember if that's why he was doing it, because I remember vaguely in that match.
They spoke briefly about why Edge's shoulder was compromised. It wasn't because of a ladder match. I don't remember what they said it was, but I just know that Eddie was all over it. Like, he even did a frog splash onto just the arm. He basically missed Edge. It looked like he missed Edge completely, but it was just onto the shoulder.
The arm, yeah.
And Edge sold it wonderfully. These two guys are just so good at working at this time in their careers. Eddie had the upper hand for the majority of the match. Obviously, he's working over that shoulder, and that's what we're building. We're building towards the Edge comeback. And every time it looked like Edge was going to start the comeback, Eddie would counter it. Edge would start to gain some momentum and try to shake. He was always shaking off his shoulder, trying to get some blood flow going. Eddie would do another move or do another reversal and take the match back over. Eddie's counters were very crisp in this match. There was a great counter towards the end where Edge went for a spear. Edge went for the spear, and Eddie does a drop kick. And then it gets countered into a frog. And so then Eddie goes up for the frog splash, and Edge gets the knees up. These guys were just constantly, the whole match, when Eddie wasn't just working over the shoulder, they were just counter moving each other. And it led for a great time. Ultimately, Edge was able to get the spear for the win, and it was a great 11 minutes of wrestling. I think both ratings. I think this time Cage Match gave it 6.74, which I think is low. I think it's at least a 7, maybe 7.5. Meltzer gave it 3.25 stars. That's probably okay, maybe 3.5. There was no super moves going on except for all the reversals. This match really bordered around messing with Edge's shoulder and everybody just countering everything. Like everybody was just spamming counter button the whole match. And it, these two would go on to do some more work and just future world champions.
I mean, my hot take on this is match of the night for me, honestly. I mean, not just from the wrestling portion of the match, the psychology behind it, the storytelling they were doing, what this would evolve into with the SmackDown 6, which we'll talk about later too as well, because you had Eddie and Chavo, obviously Edge and Ray, Benoit and Angle, having those great tag feuds, which kind of built off of this event. I mean, Eddie and Edge are two of the greatest to do it. Man, if I don't wish I could go back in time and just see what Eddie would be like now, right? Like,
oh my God,
if that would happen, that was just amazing.
Yeah, this match just made me miss Eddie. It's so clean, just the whole match. And I think this might be why the Cage Match rating and the Meltzer rating is a little lower than I would expect. Yeah. There was nothing too crazy about this match. It was just a clean, by the numbers match with excellent storytelling, no real mechanical mistakes. It was just a great by the numbers match. Which unfortunately on this card. Oh, go ahead.
I think you're right. I think that's why the ratings seem down to us, because at the time when these guys are making these ratings, there was nothing it was missing a wow factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was very clean. It did a great job of storytelling. It was basic good wrestling, which it got good scores, but there was nothing to really put it over that top to get outstanding scores.
Yeah.
Right. That was the exact point I was going to make. Is like when you compare it to like the matches that are later on in the card, like it misses a little bit of the panache that makes those matches stand out. But that being said, like every person who's inspiring or is inspired to be a wrestler, if you're aspiring that this is your profession, this is a match to watch because this is clean, excellent storytelling. Like genuinely one of the top 10 matches in those regards.
Agreed. This led to another backstage segment. WWE was big on those back in the day, even without Mean Gene around. This time it was the Un-Americans of Test, Christian, and Lance Storm talking about Christian says he can't wait to expose Booker T and Goldust for the American shams that they are. And Lance calls the Long Island lazy, unresponsive, and spoiled. The one line in that segment that I didn't quite understand was like, we don't like it here in Long Island. We tour all over this country, which they're supposed to hate the whole country. But for some reason, they really hate Long Island tonight. And I'm like, okay.
They're trying to get local heat.
Can you blame them, though? It is Long Island.
It is Long Island.
It is Long Island. And that will wrap us directly into Scott's tag team match.
Does that mean we're getting heat with Long Island now?
Anyway. I don't apologize to any Long Island viewers.
This Raw match, of course, is for the World Tag Team titles. We have Christian and, if I could be serious for a moment, Lance Storm.
One moment.
Taking on the five-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion Booker T. And, of course, the king androgynous of himself, Goldust.
The best tag team ever.
This is an amazing tag team.
The best representation of America. A black man and someone cross-dressing.
This entire match was Jim Ross go, them damn Canadians are disrespecting America. We got Booker T and Goldust, true Americans protecting American rights. All right, Jim Ross. Whatever you say. Un-Americans comes out to the most generic theme possible, I think, easily. Somebody
Terrible.
just put some like patriotic notes on a keyboard and said, here you go, this is good. There was a Green Bay Packers jersey in the front row, and unfortunately the Bears fan in me was just like, what is he doing in Long Island? Oh, that's right, trash goes to Long Island. Got it. Anyway, now I got heat.
Here we are. Burying Long Island on this review show.
Choo choo. They're already buried in our garbage. It's fine.
Choo choo. Goldust and Christian starts the match off. Christian with some early hits. Irish whip to Goldust, reverses it with a hip attack. Nothing like getting Goldust's butt in your face. Lance Storm tags in, Irish whip to Storm, inverted atomic drop onto Storm, and then tags Booker T in. Commentary is hyping up Booker T and Goldust is fighting for their country. But which we already noted about. Storm throws Goldust over the top rope turnbuckle, distracts the ref while Christian gets some nice early damage in. Some great tag team psychology there. Loud USA chant to get Goldust back into this as he gets beaten up for an insane amount of time. There's even a fake hot tag that happens where, unfortunately, NWO alumni Nick Patrick misses the tag and sends Booker T back, leaving the Un-Americans to go ahead and beat the ever-living hell out of Goldust. Goldust then gets just a random burst of energy and basically takes out the Un-Americans by himself.
It was the American in him.
He's got that dog in him.
The
apparently.
American in him was flowing through his veins.
The good old red, white, and blue, brother. Anyway.
He channeled the spirit of Lacey Evans.
I'm going to walk away from that one.
Too soon.
So finally, Goldust gets over there, makes the hot tag. Booker T comes in, an absolute whirlwind of fire, takes out both Lance Storm and Christian. Goldust gets back into the ring. There's a bit more brawling. Booker finally gets the... Oh, God, I'm skipping my notes here a little bit. Booker T with a missile drop kick onto Christian. Goes for the pin. Goldust takes out Storm, but he still only gets two. Storm gets back in, hits the ref on accident with a flying kick. Booker T hits both Un-Americans with the scissors kick. A spin-a-rooney at the time, which was huge. An axe kick to Christian, but Nick is still down. Storm attempts to hit Booker T with the belt, misses. Test, however, runs in and hits Booker T with that big old boot because he's a big old man. Christian sneaks in and pins Booker T. Nick Patrick with a very slow 3 count, and you have the Un-Americans as your tag team champions.
Terrible shame.
Cage match rated this at a 5.77, and Meltzer rated this at 3 stars. I don't think this was a bad match. There's obviously they're trying to get over on Un-Americans as a gimmick, which the gimmick itself sucks. But that's not the performer's fault. It's just a bad gimmick.
Yeah. Booker T has a beautiful missile drop kick.
Oh my God, yeah.
Probably one of the best.
His scissor kick was always phenomenal too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
There was one spot that cracked me up during the Goldust beatdown segment, right? Which was 3/4 of the match. Goldust gets another burst of energy, kind of does like a choke slam Uranagi.
Yeah.
They're both down. He does the move. They're both down. But Christian makes a hot tag, and Goldust injured himself in the move that he performed. He couldn't get to the hot tag. And I'm like,
I think it was trying to sell that Goldust was just beaten up so much that like it took all of his energy to hit that. But no, it was ridiculous, without a doubt. But what are you going to do,
American
man?
went to his ash, and he couldn't.
It was ridiculous, but fun. It wasn't ridiculous bad. It was ridiculous fun.
All right. I got to go into this next part.
It's the law. You have to.
2002 was a very different time. Let me start with that. We go to WWE World.
Beautiful time, by the way. Not because of this. Let me disclosure. Not because of this.
All right. 2002 in WWE was a different time. Let's go that route. We go to WWE World, which is, of course, the New York restaurant / thing that they had back in the day. For Nydia's makeout contest, there are two generic males, generic male number 1 and generic male number 2. Nydia picks between one of them. They begin making out wildly on the couch, perfectly positioned directly behind them. The scene changes back to the GM's office, and Eric says he likes women who know their place in this business. Okay, Eric. Whatever. Stephanie McMahon says there are women in this business in a place like hers on top. Way to take a empowering statement and make it sexual. Eric says RVD will bring the IC belt back to Raw. Fucking get us out of here, man.
Possible foreshadowing?
Yeah, I guess.
Because next we had
wait, foreshadowing on the top thing or the IC belt thing?
I think it's the IC belt thing.
The IC belt thing. We have the man who will not be named versus Rob Van Dam for the Intercontinental title. Benoit's entrance, as the kids would say today, slapped. I missed that entrance.
I miss Our Lady's Peace.
I was going to say, you're talking about Our Lady's Peace song? Because, oh my God, that song is great. But man, every time it comes on, you hear the doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. You're like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
if his son would ever go into wrestling like he said that he's like going to for however many years it was, whether that's WWE or wherever else it is, I don't think I would be mad if I heard that.
I think everyone else would be.
Yeah. It was weird when Benoit was coming to the ring, and I watched it twice, but it's either a bad spot on the camera, but it looked like it moved with the IC title. It looked like they were trying to blur out the front of the IC title. But then when they did the match graphic saying that it was an IC title match, they showed the IC title. So I'm not real sure if I was just seeing something, but as he's coming to the ring, it looked like they were trying to blur out the front of the IC title for some reason.
It might have been a merch belt. It might have been a merch belt. There's been a couple times where like wrestlers will forget their title somewhere, and like they will literally just give them a belt from merch. Like, here you go. And so they just kind of blurred some of the details out so that it wasn't blatantly obvious that it wasn't his belt.
It just, I was like, what? And I like rewind. I'm like, yeah, that looks like it's blurred out. It took me a while to get through it because I was like,
there was a couple times in 2002 where I think that is what happened, and because if you look at the IC title, like it was on Raw one night, and then I think it was King of the Ring. Maybe RVD had it. It looked plastic. I think they just gave them like the plastic belt to put it on there.
The match started off with Rob Van Dam doing Rob Van Dam things. Outside of Tajiri, probably one of the better strikers. Tajiri, Malachi Black, and RVD would probably be on my Mount Rushmore of strikers. Just kicking the shit out of Benoit, and I was loving every minute of it. I'm sorry, I'm that guy, but I loved every minute of it. They just started, and he's just whipping the dog shit out of Benoit with these kicks. And every time you think he'd go for a punch, he just throw another kick. It was just a magical feat. There's also a lot of great selling on RVD's part. RVD, I think a lot of people cult following for RVD, obviously because of his ECW days. He gets kind of corny. He becomes the original bro. Matt Riddle owes his whole career to RVD. I swear by that. Matt Riddle could never sell like RVD does, though. RVD sold this German suplex from Benoit that folded him in half, and it was phenomenal. Getting off the match for a second, RVD's has taken one of the best Stone Cold stunners I've ever seen. Definitely one of the top 5 stunner sells I've ever seen. He's just an excellent worker. Both these guys just put on an excellent match. It harkened me back to the WCW days of Benoit versus Malenko. Those matches were so clean and just really good work. Again, with this match, kind of like the one that I did before this with Edge and Eddie, where there was no super flashy move. It's just good wrestling. It's just solid striking, submission holds, reversals. They did it all. Benoit went for his headbutt, and there was no one home. Might be why he went crazy later on in life. All those damn headbutts he was doing. Who knows? But it just was a lot of fun the whole time, and it ended very kind of quickly. The match itself didn't feel like 16 minutes. It was one of the longer matches of the night, but between the selling and just the pure wrestling and the chain wrestling back and forth, it felt like one of the shorter matches of the night to me. It was one of the easier watches I had. I would probably put this as a better match than the Eddie and Edge. I know, Mike, you said that was your match of the night. I think this match for me was just so clean, and it got the belt off Benoit, which also makes me happy because Rob Van Dam will win with his patented frog splash. One of the better frog splashes outside of Eddie. Him and Eddie probably could go for a frog splash-a-thon, and we could see who does it better. I like the height. I was wishing there was a coast-to-coast in this match, but we didn't get that. Just watching RVD work at this time showed that the true professional he was in the business. Just a fun match all around. I really enjoyed all my matches again this card. They really make me remember why I love wrestling. Just for the storytelling and for the just pure. I love flashy wrestling that we have nowadays. I'm a big fan of, a lot of the AEW stuff, Penta, guys that do all the flippy moves and the flashy stuff. But there's something to be said about just pure mat wrestling and the psychology of it that really comes out in these matches a lot. Cage Match gave this a 7.35. Probably fair. Again, not a lot of flash, but a lot of substance. 16 minutes of substance, and it didn't feel like 16 minutes at all.
Yeah.
Meltzer gave it 3.5. I think that's probably one of the fair ratings I see on this card. I think it's right where it should be. What'd you guys?
This was one of those matches where I was very thankful that I wasn't the speaker on it, because I was really like eyes glued. If I was in the arena and butt at the edge of the seat, this is again what we talked earlier about, like matches that you need to study. This is one of those matches. Say everything that you will about Chris Benoit, and a lot of those are probably deserved, but God, at that time, if he was not one of the best wrestlers on the roster, you'd be lying to yourself.
I think that's the thing that I have to do with most entertainment that I consume, right? Because there are bad people everywhere in things, movies, sports, right? And it's never to excuse what the person did, but I do have to sometimes for myself separate the person from the character, as I had to do with Hulk Hogan and Terry Bollea. I do the same thing here with Chris Benoit, because he was a big part of my childhood. He was a big part of that reason that I got into wrestling. And man, if this match did not just remind me of just how good he was in that. And sometimes you feel icky praising some of that stuff, but it's just like, man, I can't not acknowledge it, because it's the same thing that I say with Eddie. It's that what if the horrible thing never happened? Like, where would these guys be at now? Within the state of their career. But yeah, I mean, I think the ratings are fair, right? I mean, they're probably the most fair. And Aaron, I agree with you. I mean, I think like it was very close for me between the Eddie and Edge and then the Benoit and RVD match. Is like the Eddie and Edge just kind of beat it, but by like this much, right? Like so small. But yeah, I mean, fantastic match from the both of them.
Yeah, and it led into a fantastic. Oh wait, no, we're backstage again in the GM office. Never mind. Eric reminds Steph, because before the match, Steph says RVD will never bring the title to Raw, and Eric reminds Steph that in this business, never say never. And Steph gives this weird flirtatious look to him. And then kind of laughed and then just got up and walked away.
was kind of a manly laugh too. It was like, like what the fuck is that?
Well, it's like, what is she like? It's like she has something lined up.
Well, she does, and like that would be in later episodes. That was ultimately when Brock Lesnar signed an exclusive contract to SmackDown after winning the title, which we.
But that's not alluding to it here. That's just a weird laugh. It's
no,
like, I can't put two and two together.
This 100% was alluding to it, but like as fans, we didn't know at the time. We just knew that Steph was apparently trying her best to make a villainous laugh. It was weird.
I guess.
And then
anyway,
before the next match, we got one more video package for our lovely un-Americans and why they hate us so much.
Well, more importantly, before the video package plays. By the way, I miss video packages so much, even if they're stupid. Like, I will take a bad video package over these ads any day, regardless. The match graphic pops up for Taker and Test coming up next, which is our next match. And the un-Americans for weeks now have been saying, this is why we're here. This is what we're here to accomplish. And JR goes, who are these un-Americans? Why are they here? And what is their motivation? And I'm like, dude, they told you already. And acting as if Test wasn't one of the hottest things of the Attitude Era, first off. Right. Two, that Christian wasn't a part of Edge and Christian of all the TLCs. And three, if Lance Storm wasn't, Lance Storm, can I be serious for a second? Anyway, the video package plays. It was really bad, but whatever, it is what it is. Test comes out with his badass theme song, still a banger to this day. Always loved Test's theme song. And man, I don't understand how Vince never got this guy. I know he tried to get him, but the pro wrestler prototype right there. Test was great, had it all. Also RIP to Test 2 as well. Taker comes out on the bike and JR goes, he's big and he's evil, but tonight I believe he's going to be an American badass. Look, my first introduction to Taker was Red Devil, Big Evil, The Undertaker, right? I mean, I love this version of The Undertaker and always will. Anyway, match starts. Basic collar and elbow tie up, lock up off the ropes where Test kind of pushes Taker into it, shoulder tackle to The Undertaker. And then they just kind of go back and forth for a little bit. Test whips Taker off the ropes. Taker counters by jumping over him. Holy crap. That was... And like Test didn't like duck, like he like jumped over this 6 foot tall man. It was very funny. And then classic Undertaker flying off the ropes, going through the air there. Taker wrenches in the arm and, does the whole spinny thing where he's wrenching the arm around, teasing the old school, gets up on the ropes, and Test pushes the ref into the ropes, knocking Taker off and down to the floor. Then on the outside, there's a little bit of back and forth until Test throws the Undertaker into the steel steps. And as they're walking around the ring, JR says, no doubt in my mind, will he be wearing some major gold around his waist in the coming future? Oh, JR, how did that work out? Back in the ring, Test gets Taker in the corner, lands some very solid elbows and a big stomp to the chest, kind of beating him down a little bit. A lot of momentum from Test here. And then it was like a little slight exchange of some locks into an arm submission. Test really just dominated the match early and a lot of the match too as well. Taker works his way back up, lands a couple of strikes, and goes into a back suplex and tries to drop the elbow on him. Test counters that. Another exchange of shots. Undertaker goes off the ropes into a great DDT. We talk about pure strikers and just great wrestlers. I mean, a beautiful DDT by the Undertaker. I think he's had one of the best ones, especially that like running one into where like they goes up and down. I mean, it was really good. Undertaker goes for old school number 2 and lands it. Taker then goes into Snake Eyes, big boot, but misses Test. And he counters into a pump handle slam before Taker reverses into the choke slam. And then Test counters and hits Taker. And then a counter number 2. And then Taker choke slams him for a 2 count. Nice little exchange there. Taker raises the fist for the last ride, but Lance Storm comes out to interfere and Christian follows shortly. Taker gets both of them in the opposite ends of the corner and is running like hell towards both of them with those slams. It's the one thing I love about that early version of Undertaker was just like, you know, for everyone that grew up with him as the dead man, the very slow, you know, mythical presence that he brought. I always loved watching him run the ropes and do these type of moves here. Chokeslam Storm, another to Christian, but Test gets him from behind with a big boot, covers Taker, but Taker kicks out and Test throws a Christian-like fit and goes for the steel chair. Taker kicks the steel chair into Test's face, goes for the tombstone, hits it, gets the win. Undertaker then celebrates, goes into the crowd. I don't know if it was a plant, but he knew someone had an American flag there, and then took the American flag, went back in the ring, and went up for that iconic Taker hold with the flag over him, which I think was in his Titantron for the following years to come with. And JR says, a real American has won. Sure. It was a great match. I mean, it wasn't, you know, like something that set the world on fire. I think the ratings are I think they're fair, right? I maybe would have gone a little bit higher, but cage match at a 4.52. Meltzer at a 2.5 stars.
Did you notice the weird editing towards the very end? I watched this on Netflix. I don't know where you guys watched it, but there was like this weird editing after the match where like Taker has the flag up. And then
he's just automatically out of the ring walking and the camera view
snaps to outside. There's no more commentary anymore.
Yep.
He's like walking through like the crowd area and then he snaps over to the
bike
motorcycle and it's just like, what was all of that? That's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen editing that just hodgepodge. From a pay-per-view before. I wasn't sure if that was on the live broadcast or not, but that was wild.
that was on the version I watched too. I don't know if there was like a delay or something, and then they put it over. I used to have the SummerSlam 2002 DVD, and I remember that sequence being a lot different. Like they showed him getting out of the ring, they showed him getting on the bike as they were trying to introduce the next match, because obviously it's a big match. Which, Scott, why don't you tell us about the next big match?
Well, before we get into that, though, I do want to say that I think the ratings for that previous match was fair. It's not necessarily because I think Test and Undertaker did a bad job. I think the match itself was completely serviceable.
Right.
I just think, like, gimmick-wise, nobody fucking cares about the Un-Americans. No. And trying to make Undertaker, who obviously was, you know, he had his American badass moment, right? But trying to make him the personification of America, I just don't think entirely works. So I think they created this Un-Americans gimmick without anyone that could like a Kurt Angle would be perfect against this, but he was on SmackDown. He's not on Raw. So they didn't have a Kurt Angle for that gimmick to make it work. And that's why
Mr. America.
Oh yeah, there we go. Who was also on SmackDown.
Is it ironic that all three Un-Americans fought three Texans?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I didn't even realize that.
I didn't realize that either. That's a great shout, Aaron. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next match. This is, of course, a Raw match, but it is ultimately unsanctioned. It's the handicap match between Triple H and versus Shawn Michaels and Earl Hebner. I'm, of course, joking. It was Triple H versus HBK. This match went almost 30 minutes, so please forgive me. I got a lot of notes to go through, and I'm going to do my best. This will be HBK's first match since dropping the belt to Austin at WrestleMania 14, as long as you ignore his TWA match, which, of course, was his promotion, as well as his training school. HBK wearing his usual chaps and vest over a white tank top and jeans is a very funny contrast of styles. He does, of course, have a shirt that says Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Not as catchy as Austin 3:16, but still a very wonderful verse. This, of course, is the height of HBK finding Jesus. Having a Mandela effect here, because I thought Triple H also wore jeans for this match, but then he comes out in his standard, like, cerebral assassin gear, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I just remembered wrong. Got it.
You were thinking of SummerSlam 2003, where he had very tight compression pants because he should have lost a match anyway. But I'll digress.
All right. Yeah. We'll move on from that. Lots of early fisticuffs. There's an Irish whip shoulder tackle by Triple H. Triple H hits the ropes, runs over a prone HBK, who of course gets up. HBK with not the cleanest looking leapfrog, but Triple H ducks to help it out. And then of course is tossed to the outside by HBK. HBK hits a crossbody out of the ring, over the ropes, and into the outside, showing he still got it, folks. He's still got it. HBK hits Triple H with a trash can lid. We are already going into ECW territory, apparently. Then later follows it up with a trash can, because you can't just have the lid without the can. HBK is on a roll until Triple H hits him with a vicious backbreaker. And then for 25 minutes, we basically have Triple H working over HBK's back. And that is the crux of this entire match. I'm skipping ahead a little bit. Triple H with a DDT onto the steel chair. And then Hebner starts screaming at Triple H, no, as Michaels is now busted open. And then, of course, whipped him with his own belt, which was very kind of Triple H. Triple H grabs old Sledgy, his sledgehammer, brings it into the ring. HBK fights him off, though, with some right hands to make him drop the sledgehammer. Triple H with an abdominal stretch onto HBK, of course, selling the injured back. Earl Hebner is now just completely involved in this match as he snaps at Triple H because he's telling him, you're going to break his back. What are you doing? Triple H pushes Hebner, rightfully so. I know he's a heel, but rightfully so. The ref is literally getting involved in the match. However, Earl Hebner ain't no fool, and he pushes him right back, gets in his face, and he's I'm sick of it! I'm sick of it! Earl Hebner really was his own character back in the day.
And on Twitter, too.
Later on down the match, Triple H uses the chair a couple times onto the lower back of HBK, is constantly trying to pin him, but only getting two. Triple H goes for a pedigree onto the chair, but HBK drops low and gives a proper low blow to Triple H. Ric Flair, take notes. It is a bad day for Degenital X, which I don't know. I don't know if that was a good joke or not, but that's what I put in my notes. I apologize in advance. Triple H grabs the mangled chair to swing it at Shawn, but HBK hits a sweet chin music onto the chair, sending the chair into Triple H's face. Both men are now a bloody mess. HBK gets a second win and begins hitting Triple H with chair shots to the head, back when they could still do that sort of thing. He whips him with his belt, trash can lid shots to the head, even hits him with a boot. He's giving him everything but the kitchen sink. Shawn even grabs a ladder and then drives it into Triple H's head and then into his midsection. It was really violent stuff. It was very, very good. There's a superplex off the top rope from HBK, but only gets a close 2 count. Triple H brings in the lower steel steps and is about to overhead swing them onto Michaels, but Michaels hits him with a drop toe hold, basically making Triple H drop the stairs to the mat, and then, of course, Triple H's face went onto the steps. Very cool stuff. Michaels grabs a fire extinguisher, and you think, oh, he's going to spray it on him. No, he just hits him over the head with it. Let's subvert expectations here, I guess. Crowd is starting to scream for a table, and HBK will bring out a table. So, of course, he sets up the table, but doesn't get a chance to put him through it right away. HBK climbs to the top turnbuckle after getting Triple H set up onto the table, and of course, will do his classic diving elbow drop, sending himself and Triple H through the table. Holy shit chants have officially commenced. We are mercifully through most of this match. HBK brings the ladder into the ring, climbs it, and hits with another elbow drop off the top of the ladder. The crowd is absolutely in the palm of HBK's hands as he begins to tune the band. A sweet chin music attempt is made, but is reversed into a pedigree, what is also reversed into a roll-up for a pin and for the win. Kind of an anticlimactic ending to a very climactic match, but hey, that leads us into the end of the match, where during the post-celebration, Triple H hits HBK multiple times in the back with a sledgehammer, letting you know this feud is far from over.
4 years far from over.
Yeah. Jim Ross, of course, absolutely going nuts on commentary. How in God's name could this human being from this planet, you son of a bitch, you realize what you've just done? As, of course, HBK is loaded onto a stretcher and brought out to the back. Cage Match rates this match at a 9.12, probably one of the highest ratings of the night. And Meltzer, of course, rates the match at a 4.5 stars. It's as much as this match was a half hour long, there was probably only a handful of times where I felt the length of it. But for the most part, when it hit that next gear, it was still a great match. And really, when you think about this being like the first real like pay-per-view match for Shawn Michaels in 4 years, the man never lost a beat.
I think it just solidified him as one of the greatest, coming back from all that time, coming back from the injury that he came back to. And I mean, like, this is probably one of my favorite matches. I'll say top 20 of all time. I don't know if it hits the 10 mark. It's probably at like 11 or 12 for me of like all time, just because I think of what it meant. But how funny is it that, like, from this moment, Triple H and HBK's pro wrestling career would literally just be side by side even to this day, right? Because you had the Forever feud with them, and then the return of DX, and then everything that they did with the Undertaker towards the end, and then their retirements mirroring each other, and then on and on and on, all the way up to creative, and Shawn running NXT and helping. I mean, it's a pretty cool story, I think so. But obviously, the rivalry itself went on for way too long.
Oh,
one of the better hardcore matches, especially when you consider these two were not known for their hardcore matches. Now, Triple H always known for his obviously sledgehammer use, but never. If you said who's your top 10 hardcore wrestlers, I don't think anybody's listing these two guys into it. But this is one of the better choreographed hardcore matches. Every weapon they used hit and did its job and had a purpose. So many times there's just weapons that are brought in that either never get picked up or used very sparingly. The only problem I have with the whole thing, going back to last month's review, is there was no trash in the goddamn trash.
Oh God, why do I always get the bad segments?
You're the one that does them.
Can we skip this one? No, I guess we got to talk about it for completion's sake. Because heel Howard Finkel is what everybody wanted, especially in 2002, which was a very different time for WWE.
They still want it today.
The Fink has a few things that he needs to get off his chest. And of course, he uses his Howard Finkel voice. So, of course, the whole time he's talking exactly like this. Just like, oh, no. The first event he announced, this is the first event he has announced since WrestleMania 2. Baseball may be going on strike, but wrestling fans will still always have the Fink. Trish Stratus is coming out, but while that is happening, JR makes the comment, WrestleMania 2, who cares? Way to bury your own product, JR. Fink says, you slapped me and pushed me into a pool of mud. Just because we're in an arena with Long Island skanks doesn't mean you're hot stuff. Way to get him, Fink. Trish feels bad and apologizes, says Fink has a sexy voice. Has a surprise for Fink. Fink says it's a dog-eat-dog world. Trish has her puppies, and he has his, let me use Fink's voice for this, his wiener. I hate this. I hate this so fucking much. I'm sorry, it's just so bad.
I'm just glad that you got this.
Oh no.
Although I would have loved to hear Aaron's Fink voice say wiener.
I mean, is it bad that I want to be Fink right now? I mean,
next to Trish, even giving Trish Stratus a hug, I don't think it's a bad gimmick. Speaking of which, Trish does give Fink a hug. Fink says it's a pleasant surprise. Trish says the real surprise is Lillian Garcia, who proceeds to absolutely slap the ever daylight out of the Fink and then kicks him in his many fingers. And that, of course, wraps up this horrible, horrible segment and leads us to the main event. Please, God, take us away, Mike.
All right, it's time for the main event. Rock versus Brock for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Before we go into the details of the match, and we have alluded to this throughout the show, I thought for history's sake, it would be good to bring up how weird of a year 2002 was for WWE, because it felt like a fever dream. And there's a reason for me explaining this, because I think that this match was the catalyst that would send WWE into their new era and would send them into an era that we know of the Attitude Era, of the Ruthless Aggression Era, and kind of phasing out of the Attitude Era, right? Because let's not forget, just a year prior, year and some months, WWE had bought WCW. They had no more competition, right? So now you have to find an identity. And was 2002 an identity for WWE? Let's go over some of the big events that happened in 2002 that people might not remember, because it seemed like they tried to slam 8 years into 8 months worth of things to do. The biggest thing of all, of course, was WWF changes their name to WWE. I know that was very hard for some fans to accept. I don't know about you guys. Hand raised. My point exactly.
Quick interjection.
We also had... What's that?
Yeah. Is it possible that the blurred out IC title could have been a WWF IC title, and that's why?
Totally.
Oh yeah, it could have been. Could have had the scratch mark on it. The Panda was pissed that Vince shoved some bamboo up its ass, and we had to get the F out. Some very notable events from 2002, which are, let's not forget, Triple H in January had just returned from that very horrific injury a year prior in February to the quad, I believe. He tore his quad, won the Royal Rumble, and then beat Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 18, which was a WWF event. Also, then The Rock and Hogan happened at that same WrestleMania. Then in February, the NWO debuts, and then they're gone 4 months later. We also had the draft, as we alluded to earlier, where Vince said, hey, let's just split the brands up and see what happens. Along with this, Stone Cold took his ball and went home, and we wouldn't see him until No Way Out of 2003. After SummerSlam, we get into also the SmackDown 6, plus John Cena's debut, Randy Orton's debut, Batista and Devon as a priest for some reason. Sorry, Reverend, my bad. With the Bodyguard. So much stuff happened into here, including this. This title that The Rock and Brock Lesnar fought over, technically because we had, some merging of some things and then the World Heavyweight title come into Raw. But the WWE Championship as we know it changed 8 times this year. Let me name them all. We had Jericho, Triple H, Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, The Rock, Brock Lesnar, Big Show, and ended it with Kurt Angle. You want to talk about somebody finding their identity during this year? There was so much that happened. But the good that came out of this, I believe, was Brock Lesnar. And I got to give props where props is due, whether that was Vince, whether that was Paul, combination of the three with him and Brock included. Brock Lesnar was that athlete that you brought in to hold this title, because it really ushered in that new era for everyone. And this match was so important for that because obviously you don't have Stone Cold anymore. Rock is going to Hollywood famously. Everyone knew that because the internet leaks had just started happening. So let's go into the match to kind of cement why this was so important. JR and King throw it to Cole and Taz. I miss this commentary duo so much. Taz, still to this day, is such a silly, silly man, and I love it. Another great main event video package. I will reiterate, I miss video packages so much because we had the recap of the rise of Brock Lesnar, the recap of him winning the King of the Ring, and then him saying, "I have the blood of Hulk Hogan on me, Rock. Now I'll have the blood of you," where he famously did the bear hug to Hulk Hogan and choked him out on an episode of SmackDown. We get into the entrances. Brock is such a specimen. I mean, even at this time, what was it, 22 years old, right? I mean, strapping the belt on someone this young that looks like this was amazing. Rock's music hits. 2 cheers. Remember that. Rock lays the belt down and just guns it towards the ring, and him and Lesnar just start an exchange of rights, going at each other with fists until Brock counters into a belly-belly. Pinfall right off the pin attempt right off the bat, kick out by The Rock. Literally right after that, Rocky sucks chants start very, very early. Hollywood calls, Rocky. Make sure you get that Tooth Fairy outfit ready. Another pin attempt from Lesnar and a kick out. Lesnar right to the ribs in the corner. The classic Brock Lesnar getting somebody in the corner, just shoulder right into the ribs. I mean, it was great. Rock is driven over the barricade by Lesnar as they're on the outside now, and Brock just picks him up with effort for a gorilla press and just slams him down, and then right back into the barricade, clotheslines him over. We're back in the ring now, another belly to belly into a pin attempt, kick out at 2 again for The Rock. Rock gets some rights in, and then he goes to go off the rope, but Heyman trips him up for Brock to land some elbows on him. The Heyman interference is strong in this one throughout the match. We have some back and forth, and you can tell the crowd is in Lesnar's corner really quick. Almost every move, cheers for every blow that Lesnar hits on The Rock. Fun little spot here. Both men kick up at the same time. That was pretty cool. And they were really far apart from each other to call that. And they did a great job of masking it because I didn't hear anybody yell anything out over when they were on the ground. Usually when you see a double kick up, like someone's tapping somebody on the thing. But I thought it was a really cool spot. Rock takes early advantage, but can't knock Lesnar down until he goes off the rope for a third time, hits a high elbow and a DDT into a pin, but only a 2 count. Leg drag by The Rock after knocking Heyman off the apron and locks Brock up in the sharpshooter. And this sharpshooter felt like it was locked in for about 10 minutes. Heyman distracts The Rock and is pulled from the ring. Rock goes for the rock bottom on Heyman, but Lesnar counters with a crummy blow to the back. Heyman had slid in a steel chair at this time, so Brock goes to pick it up and just slams the chair into Rock's ribs. And then Brock locks in the bear hug, which made Hulk Hogan internally bleed. Commentary wants to remind us of that one. Let's go Lesnar chants start as we're into a bunch of rolling pins. They just kept, he had the bear hug on him on the ground and then just kept kind of rolling up into a pin. So that was kind of fun. You can hear in the background, some kids are yelling, "Rocky, Rocky!" And then some fan just goes, "Shut the f*** up!" And it was hilarious. Rock with a low blow while Heyman had the ref distracted. So inadvertently, Heyman kind of disrupted his own guy. It's anyone's game at this point, right? No, we know what happens here. Brock right back into it with diving shoulders into the corner. And then Rock just explodes out of the corner with this elbow. And then right hands, one that made Lesnar, it was so good, it made Lesnar jump out of the ring. Kidding, of course. He punches him and then obviously puts Lesnar over the top rope there. Rock clears the table out and then catapults Lesnar into the ring post after he spit shine the ring post up. I guess if that's your kink, go for it. Rock and Brock back and forth in the ring. Rocky stalks for a rock bottom really quick. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot something very important. There was a rock bottom to Paul Heyman through the table. And after the land, clear as day, Rock asking Heyman if he's okay, because that was one of the worst rock bottoms I have ever seen in my life. But at least the table broke properly, right? No, nothing too bad there. Brock hits a rock bottom out of nowhere on The Rock, where Taz goes, "Brock bottom!" And that made me laugh because I love Taz so much.
It was pretty good. It was really good.
Protect that man at all costs. Kick out at 2 from The Rock. Brock then whips Rock into the ropes, but is countered into a spine buster. And oh, here we go. Elbow pad is off, and the crowd is nuclear, booing The Rock right now. I got to give credit to The Rock through this whole match because the man knows how to play to the crowd. I mean, he is like superb at what he does. So he knew when those boos were coming in, he's switching back to heel Rock. I mean, it was the facial expressions, it was the eyebrows, it was just some of the mannerisms that he was doing. Great stuff from him. Yeah, so anyway, People's Elbow goes out, but Lesnar takes The Rock's head off with a freaking clothesline as he goes over to do the People's Elbow. And then he goes for the F5, but Rock counters it, tries to go for a Rock Bottom. Brock counters it, tries to go for a Brock Bottom. Rock counters it, tries to go for a Rock Bottom. Brock counters it, goes back to the Rock Bottom. This was 2K spamming on every level that I have ever seen in my life. I didn't know if I was playing a video game or watching a match at this point. But finally, Lesnar turns the Rock around, hits the F5 into the 1-2-3. Lesnar wins. Lesnar celebrates with the title by headbutting it a couple times and then looking at it, and he just has that menacing early Brock look on his face that's just like like it was very good. My only complaint is the feed just like kind of, they just ended abruptly, really. Like there wasn't really like a big celebration portion of just crowning the youngest WWE champion in history. But again, it was 2002 and time is a factor. Exactly. Cage Match gives it a 7.83 and Meltzer gives it 3.25 star. Look, it wasn't the greatest match ever, right? I thought it was entertaining to a point, but everyone knew The Rock was leaving for Hollywood at this point. He had the movies lined up. But the reason I prefaced with what I prefaced with was because this title change was so important for WWE at that time, because it really was them putting their faith in their younger stars and building up that next generation to what we have now, our versions of Rock, Austin, all of the Attitude Era portion through, the OV4 of Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, Batista, Randy Orton, John Cena. Yeah, I mean, there was such a time that kind of went into that 2003 portion, because if you take 2003 and 2002 and put them together, or next to each other, I mean, completely different, like on all levels, right? I really feel like 2003 focused more on, at least on the SmackDown side, more of the sports emphasis on it, and Raw featured more of the entertainment emphasis on it. And a lot of people look back at that. It wasn't a great time for wrestling. I thought it was fun, but all of those moments have really trickled down to, I think, this title change here and set WWE up for the future.
Well, I think we've exhausted SummerSlam 2002 to the best of our abilities. Wherever you watch this, whether it be on Facebook or YouTube, you obviously should let us know what you thought of the event. Correct us if we were wrong in any of our takes. And then, yeah, Mike, where can people find our show? Oh,
you can find us places. We are available.
I was trying to hint towards you leaning down to that wonderful app that's coming out soon.
I will shortly. But first, you can always find us on the WSN YouTube or Facebook page where we'll be. We'll also be back on Spotify very, very soon, so keep an eye out on our socials for that. But most importantly, you're going to be able to see the Mafia Boys in real time on September 11th. Coming soon to Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, Google TV, and all mobile devices. I must say that we have been having a blast with the beta testing through all of this. I can't wait for you guys to see this. We have, and not just the amazing independent promotions that we have from around the world. We also have old school wrestling on there too. We have documentaries. We have podcasts. We have so many things. We have the games that you're going to be able to enjoy on this app. So stay tuned. Make sure you download. There's going to be a free version and then a paid version. We'll have more information coming out on that too as well. Or actually, it might have came out already. Regardless, you're going to love this app. So, gentlemen, as per tradition, what are we doing next month?
Oh, Aaron, do you want to tell him?
I mean, it is I would say it ranks right up there with our first episode when we did Bash at the Beach at industry-changing ramifications. And it started a new revolution. It started a new war. And we're talking about All In 2018.
The OG All In.
The Ring of Honor All In.
With Bullet Club signs all over the place. Yeah!
As much as it was a independent show from all independent promotions, Ring of Honor definitely lost some money on that. Aaron's going to be our token Rey Mysterio match guy, so we'll probably give him the main event. Yeah, All In 2018 that started all. Of course, All In, what is this, All In 5 or 4? 5, right? The fifth one?
I mean, each your own, I don't know.
5.
That's right. 18, 23, 24, 25, 26. Yeah, the fifth iteration of All In happens this Sunday, actually, the 31st of January, because we're definitely live right now, and we're definitely recording this on the 28th.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
So, make sure you don't miss that. It's going to be a great event. Let us know in the comments what match you're looking forward to seeing, and we honestly cannot wait to bring you All In 2018. It's one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time, not just for what it meant for the business, but I mean, great matches on there, a lot of good stuff on that too as well. So we will be bringing that to you in September. As always, make sure you are subscribed to WSN on all social platforms. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think of these wonderful three handsome gentlemen on the screen before you. And make sure that you download the WSN Plus app coming September 11th on all the platforms that I mentioned so far. I am Mike V for Scott V and Aaron P. This has been your review of SummerSlam 2002. Didn't mean to rhyme there. We are the Midcard Mafia. Join the society.
Midcard Mafia.